Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in a series between Lowely and Sage here on Daybreak. Game 2, Lowely spawning as the red Zerg here at what I will call the 7 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Sage spawning as the blue Protoss here at the 1 o'clock position. Now, Game 1 was really more of a focus and a tier 2 push by Lowely. Lowely really doing a lot of damage in the early game with that Baneling bust, and that just gave him enough of an economic advantage where he could really press it at tier 2. Now, Sage did a great job. He did do a lot of great engagements. The problem was that Lowely just had too much of an economic advantage, and also one crucial battle where fungal growth just completely took over and took out Sage's surprise attack, and that pretty much ended any real chance for Sage to get back in that game. So a very, very strong attack by Lowely in the early opening of the game, and then a great follow-up utilizing fungal growth to shut down a couple sentries in the mid game really led way to what we saw in the end game. Now, we are going to be seeing Sage set up a proxy pylon on the low ground, or an expansion. I'll call that an expansion pylon because we pretty much know a forge, a gateway, the nexus will be placed down, and this is all going to be part of a wall to try and defend a fast expansion. Now, Sage, learning his lesson from Game 1, has opted to go for that forge a little bit faster. That will buy him time, that will get that photon cannon up just ever so faster, where he didn't have to lose those 3 to 4 probes earlier. Now, Lowely is getting that spawning pool relatively quickly, as we see, and with that spawning pool already up, Sage now knows that it was smart for him to actually go for that forge first. Now, there is already a hatchery down here, so Lowely deciding to change things up, instead of going for a quick queen after the spawning pool was up, opted to go for the hatchery first and then train the queen, as we will see Zerglings now starting to chase away one probe. Now, that probe should be able to get away just enough. Oh, nope, it is actually looking to see if there's going to be a third base taken. And with this, Sage may actually lose this one probe, as there will not be enough time for shields to regenerate on that probe before the probe gets back home. It does need another 5 hits though, so will it be able to sneak by? That is the question. A photon cannon is already warping in. It should get done, as the probe is now down to 6 shields. Oh, it's actually able to regenerate some hit points or shield points there. And now it looks like this probe will be able to live and harvest minerals another day. Coming back here, we can see that the Overlord has spotted this natural expansion, and I believe this time around Lowely is going to simply allow this expansion to go up. Sage has spotted this hatchery down a little bit more quickly as well. We can also see gas has been established, and we'll see if that's for metabolic boost or if we will actually see a little bit of Baneling play. One very low hit, or one full hit point probe, 10 shield point probe, now trying to head back out and see if this third base has been established before the 6-minute mark. Now, Sage at this point just really wants to get a strong economy going, and it's going to be up to Sage to figure out what his harassment technique will be. So far, we haven't seen any true harassment come out from Sage in Game 1, since he was already a bit behind. One low hit point probe, gonna try to sneak through, unable to do so, and now 5 minerals have pretty much been lost. One Overlord here from Lowely, and we'll see whether we are gonna see perhaps a Stalker in time to shoot down this Overlord. Cybernex core is already in play. Are we going to go into a Stalker? Yes, we are. And it wants to shoot down that Overlord as quickly as possible. If Lowely is not careful, he will end up being supply blocked in just a moment, as he is going to be losing a crucial Overlord. We are doing a rather fast tech to tier 2 from Lowely, and I am curious about this very fast tech, as he hasn't established up his third base yet. Normally, a lot of Zerg players have been staying on tier 1 just a little bit longer, and then getting up a much stronger economy to really catapult them in the mid-game. Oh, an Overlord from Lowely spotted, now up over here. Now, this normally would not happen in Heart of the Swarm. Now that there is a new flying mothership core, And that's what I meant. On a map like Daybreak, the Mothership Core would be able to spot up onto the high ground and allow the Stalker to shoot it down. Zealot now attempting to slice his way past a couple of Zerglings. It will get taken down there. So far, we see that there are going to be 4 warp gates. Interesting, 4 warp gates and a robotics facility, so we should have a 2-base timing. Meanwhile, Sage still doesn't know what Lowly's going for. We could perhaps... Oh, Warp Prism play. This is going to be perhaps a little bit of special tactics. Warp Prism, Stalker now doing a little bit of patrolling. It is going to spot this Overlord here, but not be able to really shoot it down. So far, Lowely has not yet taken up his 3rd base. He hasn't even tried to establish up a macro hatch yet, as we are now already going into an infestation pit at the 8-minute mark. Difficult to predict what Lowly's going to be going for here. He is finally going for his hatchery, and he's going for his Baneling nest. But this all seems rather out of the normal order as an Overseer now flies by. Sage, by seeing this Overseer, now knows that his opponent is at tier 2 already, and he has to be wondering what is going on. Stalker, is it going to be able to shoot down this Overseer? The Overseer taking a bit of damage. Not going to fall, though, as now an Observer is already on the move. Zealot and 1 Stalker gonna be perhaps dropped off over here in just a moment. Sage is gonna spot this hatchery, and here we go. Units are being dropped off. Lowly does spot the Warp Prism. Warp Prism now in phase mode, and is it gonna try and drop off more and more units? Queen now making its way over. Zealots have to be very careful. Are they gonna jump inside that Warp Prism? Why are they not doing so? That is actually a rather strange engagement, as Baneling's just going to sacrifice themselves right up there. Alright, Baneling's completely taking this down, and Sage looking rather confused at this point, or at least I am, in what he was really trying to do. This Warp Prism didn't do much of anything except lose out on a whole bunch of resources. 1,025, and now you can see Zerglings and even the Queen making its way over. The Warp Prism needs to get away, now actually taking some critical damage. Hit points will not be regenerated ever, as the Warp Prism now tries to retreat and return home. Alright, Sage opting to go in for a faster 3rd base now. Going to be establishing this here. We can see that there is 1 Observer keeping track of the creep spread. Lowly doesn't have that good of creep spread either. So I really question Lowly's decision to go for a fast tier 2. It really feels like based upon what we see so far, it would have been better if he tried to establish up this hatchery a little bit faster, knowing that his opponent was perhaps a little bit on the defensive. Now, also, we can see that there are, 4 warp gates, 1 robotics facility, and only 1 immortal. And so far, Lowly is controlling this entire pace of the game with just Zerglings and a 10 supply advantage. Level 2 weapons upgrade, level 1 armor upgrades, and a charge for those Zealots now being established, as Lowly looks to establish up his 3rd expansion, his 4th base, here on the top left-hand side of the map. Observer still flying around. You can see Lowly also establishing up a macro hatch here, and this could turn into a long macro game if both sides are ready and willing to just oh, what was this? Why is there a chrono boost now? There you go, finally getting the armor upgrades, and now getting a little bit of a chrono boost. Psystorm level 3 weapons upgrade coming in as well, so the Stalkers and the Sentries will be very well upgraded. Now, we should also be seeing shield upgrades sometime soon if we are going to be going into perhaps a bit of Archon play. Zerglings have made their way over. The Zerglings are upgraded 1-1, but the Zealots would be able to finish off most of them until the Infestors did arrive. Infestors with that fungal growth, very effective. It does a lot of damage. Chain fungal growth, just shutting down units, not allowing them to retreat, and also take a lot of damage. And take damage if you do chain it. So far, Infestors are still slithering their way off north. Movement speed, that of 2.25, the same as a Marine and Marauder when not stimmed. As, oh, there is an infested swarm egg. Is the Observer going to be able to get away in time? There's the fungal growth, and no more Observer there. So the Overseer of Lowly keeping track of any possible Observers. The extra eyes on the Overseer really helping out there. as it is still on the move. Now, we can see that there's still an Overlord sitting here, and there's an Overseer sitting here. No real way to catch and get them out, as we are now going into a Spire and Hive Tech, which means that we should be seeing a greater Spire momentarily. Still, no engagement. We are going into a Stargate as well, so both sides perhaps confusing me a little bit. Sage needs to do something soon, as we now see a fourth base being established by Sage. This mineral patch is rather limited, only 6 mineral patches and 1 rich Vespene geysers, as Zerglings gonna catch some units down over here. Alright, the probe hiding off in the corner. Zealots and Stalkers looking to engage. Will they be able to finish that off? The force field's actually causing a little bit more problem than it's worth, as the photon cannon getting in some easy shots. One Zealot now making its way over there will slice and dice its way through those Zerglings with no problem. Alright, Assimilator, 450 shields, 450 hit points. Never got a straight answer from David Kim why shields are so much better, or hit points on a Assimilator so much higher than both the Extractor or the Refinery. It could just be a holdover, as we now see the Observer looking and perhaps hunting for more and more Overlords. Warp Prism now looking to do a bit of a drop here. Zealots are going to be dropped here in just a second, and there you go. There's the drop. Warp Prism now going into phase mode, as the Zealots are going to try to shut down a Queen. Are they going to be able to do so? Yes, with charge, but some transfusions coming in as well, as the Zealots now kind of stuck. All of those Zealots will get taken out, but not before taking down 1 Queen. Coming back over here, a new, beautiful placement of a Spore Crawler, stopping a Warp In before it got too critical there, as perhaps it should have tried to Warp In over here. Only a range of, I believe, 7. Yeah, only a range of 7 on that Spore Crawler, dealing a lot of damage. Now, let's see what's going to be happening next. Zerglings coming in over here. You can see that the Nexus has been completed, and those Photon Cannons will perhaps try to finish off some of those Zerglings. 1 Photon Cannon will get taken down. A 2nd Photon Cannon will get taken down as well, but not before the Zerglings are now pretty much surrounded by Zealots, and that has been taken care of. Perhaps new Photon Cannons will be placed down once more, and this is one of those situations where shield upgrades are very important. We are now going into the mothership. Oh, Banelings and Zerglings. This could be a bad engagement, as the Banelings are just rolling through and actually attacking and taking down some of those units. Beautiful force fields, though, catching, and a beautiful Psy Storm there, completely mitigating all of that damage. Oh my gosh, that could be really bad. Oh, wow. It really looked like that was going to be a really bad situation, but it turned out to be okay, as Zealots now going after those Zerglings again. The Zerglings are, I believe, are they upgraded enough? No, they don't have that. They only have 2/2 armor. They don't have 3/3 just quite yet. Once 3/3 is completed, those Zerglings will be much more effective against Zealots, as Zealots are now looking to Warp In again, going after the Warp, or going after the Queens. The Queens are now just going to get completely shut down here, and so far the Zealots and Zerglings are still engaging. Lowely perhaps explaining or complaining about a little bit of lag, but I can guarantee you it's not me, since I am simply casting this from a replay. So far, Zealots are singing off over here. A very large engagement by Sage. Army composition still much larger for Lowly. Sage walking around with a whole bunch of High Templar isn't going to be enough, as the Zerglings finish off that Zealot there. What mothership has arrived. Shield upgrades. We are going into level 2 shield upgrades. We are going into ventral sacks for some possible doom drops, as the mothership is on the move. Mothership does move rather slowly, and we'll see where it will be going next. Queen now wandering around. You can see some creep tumors are being laid down. You can see a whole bunch of broodlords. Dark Shrine being added, and in addition to the gravitic drive for the warp prism movement speed, and this is going to turn into an east versus west battle. Now, we are seeing that standard late game come in Zerg versus Protoss. Lowly has a crazy number of spine crawlers, infestors, and broodlords. Meanwhile, from the Protoss side, we see stalkers, mothership, and at some point we might even see carriers. the neuroparasite. That is going to be interesting whether or not it takes control of that mothership, as the mothership is still simply wandering around at this point. All right, mothership making its way around. You can see a whole bunch of High Templar in this group. 15 High Templar observers are in each of the bases. There is really no key tech here besides the infestation pit, as we now see stalkers to shut down overlords. Overlords are getting picked off rather quickly, and even this one is with Zerglings will get picked off. We are now at 195 over 188. A warp prism now perhaps looking to do a bit of a drop in the back. Is this spore crawler gonna spot it? No, it is not. But now in comes a giant drop here. What is this? In comes the infested Terrans. And now Archon's trying to come in. A beautiful drop in here as the force field does come down. Unfortunately, the Broodlords have gotten over. Infested Terrans have gotten over. And now we may see a sniping of both the infestation pit and, yes, the spawning pool. Level 1 weapons upgrade on the weapon, on the ship. And now also going into another Stargate as the Dark Templar is just swiping its way through all of these hives. Swiper, no swipe, as he is just slicing and dicing all of those units. Why did I make a reference to Dora? I don't know. Yeah, my daughter. You can give a shout out to her there. Thanks, Arya. Swiper, no swipe. I think I'll call Dark Templar Swiper now. And so far, we're going to see observers still positioning themselves here. We are going to have the mothership now on the move. Recall, I'm not exactly sure why recall wasn't used in that engagement there, as the Zealots are trying to take down some of these creep tumors. There is one warp prism. Storm did do a bit of damage there as all the broodlings, and now there are a whole bunch of banelings, so we are going to see baneling carpet bombing as well. This is a strategy we have not seen in quite some time. Baneling carpet bombing with those overlords, and those High Templars are gonna be running for high heaven. Oh, this could be bad. There's a fungal growth, and oh, so bad there, as the stalkers are able to blink forward, take down some of those units. And yeah, 200 hit point banelings, so scary, as those overlords are now coming back. So far, overlords, infestors, baneling carpet bombing, as the banelings are all unloaded here. Another warp prism dropping off more kids to take down these spine crawlers. Infested Terrans or infestors gonna finish this off, but it may actually be able to take down that last spine crawler here. Watching the mini map, it looks like Lowely is now up against the ropes, but he does have plenty of weapons to fight back against Sage, as the army composition is so that Lowely has a much larger army there. So it is about a 14 to 15,000 resource army, and now more units being dropped off and killed here. A new infestation pit, spawning pool coming in, and now what is this mothership looking to do? Level 1 weapons upgrade already completed. Level 2 ship or shield upgrades, as we are now going into triple carriers. Problem with carriers is that they are not very effective against corruptors. Corruptors hard counter carriers so much, in addition to their armor, the additional massive damage, and also their corruption, and really helps out. Let's take a look. Where is those corruptors? Corruptors, yeah, with a base 2 armor, now 3 armor, minimizing the amount of damage those carriers do by 6, since it is a double attack for those carriers. All right, High Templar, are they gonna drop off Storm? Oh, feedback. Is it gonna be enough? We could see another feedback come in. Oh, more feedback comes across multiple infestors, as an Archon now being merged, but a whole bunch of broodlings have another story planned there. Probes now hiding off over here. 188 versus 194 supply. Lowly now taking the lead again. We are getting into a second spire. So we are now we are going into a third spire, apparently. I'm not exactly sure why we're going into that third spire. The greater spire is still up, so perhaps just trying to get up another spire just cuz. Yeah, Carapace. Oh, missile attack. Okay, so no, that's just the second spire. I thought the missile attack was the Zerg flyer attack for some reason. All right, so it is just going to be double spire. No crazy waste there. All right, Psystorm now being used against Broodlings, something that Protoss players absolutely hate to do. Meanwhile, Zealots are now charging in and will be able to shut down one Spine Crawler, and now going after some Spore Crawlers. The Queens are actually in beautiful position here, transfusing themselves. More Zealots looking to come in as well, as the Broodlords are making the slow flight down. Single engine just playing, making its way all the way over. And now you're going to see Zerglings or Broodlings finish off all of these Zealots. So far, Lowely is being forced to move around with a very, very high DPS army that is rather slow. And Sage is just going, you know what, I'm not going to have any of that. I'm just going to engage where you're not. And if I can engage where you're not, since I do move 2 to 3 times faster than you, then there's never much you can really do. All right, Overlords now making their way in over here. You can see we are going into some Photon Cannons. Photon Cannons don't hold their own against Broodlords here, as one Photon Cannon gets destroyed, another Photon Cannon gets destroyed, and now a sea of Broodlings just swarm their way in. Archons dealing 47 damage per attack, and now what is this? Zerglings finishing off some units here, as now more and more Photon Cannons are getting canceled. All right, it's going to be a look to see who can establish up the next base faster. Both players are even on bases with only 3 operational bases each, this one being a minor base. All right, High Templars are ready to go. We are going into 6 carriers at a time right now, and if Sage can actually pump out with these carriers and engage when his opponent is not ready, that is going to be a huge, huge benefit. The problem is going to be the number of infested Terrans that we are going to spot. Infested Terrans very effective against carriers, as each infestor seems to be holding 8 infested Marines. Infested Marines actually more effective than your standard Marine variety, as they get more upgrades and more damage. Warp Prism now looking to go along the far side here. What is going to be happening? And oh, infested Terrans now dropping themselves off here, and now they will be engaging against the Nexus here. So these infested Terrans with a decent amount of life, where are they going? They're actually going after the Photon Cannon here. And now we are going to see more infestors now slide up over here as well. Stalker is going to finish this off. One Photon Cannon does get taken down. And now this Warp Prism may look to perhaps remove the Hive Tech from the game. Sage now warping in, or looks like he will be warping in some units as soon as he remembers. Why isn't he? Oh, he can't warp in units as he is currently supply blocked. Sitting at 200 over 200 and now going into Void Rays. He's training 8 Interceptors at a time. Yeah, that is absolutely scary, training 8 Interceptors at a time. That means you have 8 carriers in play at least to get 8 Interceptors at a time. All right, Broodlords are now making their way out. A whole bunch of infested Terrans are now swarming out and about. And here we go. It looks like this expansion will get cleaned up here in just a second. All of these infested Terrans, you can see their damage 10, 11 at full upgrades, as the Zerglings are now looking to shut down another expansion attempt here. High Templars, what are they doing except getting eaten up by so many Zerglings? High Templar is actually the first to arrive on the scene, something that doesn't happen very often. Now, I am still waiting for Lowely to take down these destructible rocks, as the infestors are now making their way off to the north, trying to flank and get a good position on Lowely. It looks as though the Broodlords and the Infestors and the Corruptors are already making their way off to the north. There is still one mothership here, and we are now going into level 3 weapons upgrade and getting in 2 more Void Rays. Army compositions, we are at about a 20,000 army, 20,000 resource army for the Zerg. Meanwhile, we are at, what is that, 16 or 15,000 for the Protoss. Harvester count 35 compared to 60 drones, as Lowely is pretty much not mining that many more resources. There comes a Psystorm, and more Psystorm coming in. The Corruptors, and there is a beautiful, beautiful vortex protecting that mothership. Unfortunately, all of those infested Terrans are going to make it very difficult for those Archons to utilize that Archon toilet. Are they going to be able to get in there? Archon, Psystorm, and so many Corruptors taking so much damage as all those units are backing out. Sage now still trying to train up more. So many infested Terrans popping out here. How many infested Terrans could we have as another group of Psystorm? So many Corruptors as the Interceptors are also moving out as well. All right, we need to see a little bit of scouting here, and so many of these Corruptors should be coming in alongside all of these infested Terrans. And at this point, Sage may save. This place is not worth saving. Zealots now, however, warping in and now going to be shutting down the Hive. So the Hive will get taken down here and is going to be changing, or it could change things up dramatically. Psystorm now coming in. Infested Terrans trying to fight back. More infested Terrans being dropped off as the Interceptors are shutting down all of these infested Swarm Eggs. However, the Corruptors are still making their way in. Zealots are going after all of these after another hatchery, as we're going to see a Queen get taken down, and now another hatchery get taken down as well. Infestors are now backing off. We are going to be seeing perhaps a Zergling drop inside the main base, but this is not going to bode well at all. There's not simply enough was there going to be enough Zerglings? It looks like there was actually enough Zerglings here, and now Zealots are warping in as they do or Dark Templar, even better, warping in to finish off all of this. All right, so Dark Templar will finish off a lot of those units. Corruptors finish off this one particular warp prism, as now Sage looks to reestablish up another base. Long macro game still coming in. No clear victor at all. 20,000 resources versus 17 now, as the probe count of Sage is starting to fall, and he's replenishing it with more and more units. Banelings, Broodlords, looking to make their way in. A massive number of spine crawlers on this set of on this ramp over here. It looks as though this Nexus should just get canceled. Is it going to get canceled? No. Sage opting to lose 400 resources for no real reason, then buying himself 6 seconds. All right, carriers. The carriers have arrived. More Void Rays coming in, and this is one of those situations where, are the Void Rays really going to be that effective? The Void Rays do deal a lot of damage to armored units. The problem is all of those infested Terrans. Those infested Terrans deal so much damage and really are very effective against all of those Void Rays. So, and the carriers you would normally think are effective against those infested Terrans, but the damage output is simply that much higher, as the Archon quickly eats up and absorbs way too many units. But in comes the Void Rays, and this could be a quick game changer here. All of those Broodlords without any Void Ray escort, and this is a huge mistake. These units are all going to get destroyed here, and wow, Lowely losing a good amount of his Broodlords for no real reason. He does not have the necessary Corruptors escorting those units. Meanwhile, Zealots and Dark Templars now going after the Greater Spire. Are they going to be able to do it? Apparently, Zealots are not smart enough to actually figure this out. The Dark Templar still swiping, and the Dark Templar swiping may just be enough. No, it is not. The Greater Spire survives at 125. A new hatchery trying to be established here. It does not work, as more Dark Templars are simply just going to kamikaze their way in and take down this Greater Spire. There is one Spore Crawler here, and the Spore Crawler, oh, it is going to spot those Dark Templars, and is it going to, oh, wow, that was huge. The Dark Templar should really be going after the Greater Spire, not going after this Evolution Chamber. If it goes after the Evolution Chamber, it will actually reveal itself to those Broodlings. Oh, just beyond sight range. Meanwhile, coming back over here, Interceptors just getting fungal growth. No real loss in that battle there. As you can see, not much. I didn't miss much. I swear. Okay, anyways, coming back over here. Mothership carriers, High Templars now looking to engage. A whole bunch of changelings hanging out, saying, you know what, there's not much we can do. As we now see the massive Void Ray army. The Void Rays looking to just clean up all of these spine crawlers here. And you can see all of those spine crawlers just gonna melt away. Infested Terrans now trying to come in. Void Rays engaging up against mass Corruptors. And who's gonna come out on top? So much Psystorm. That is so much Psystorm. Wow, I am lagging out my computer as, whoa. All right, that was perhaps a huge drop in supply. Infested Terrans now trying to make their way up. Vortex, double Vortex to try and even things out. Mothership Core, are we gonna see more units fall here? Carriers now trying to engage, and now with no more Corruptors after all of those Psystorms, that is going to be a huge problem. 16 Corruptors now trying to be added. More infested Terrans coming out again. Sage at 148, 145 supply, and now backing off again. Broodlords are simply just sitting there, absorbing damage as the carriers are trying to finish up all of those infested Terrans. Broodlord's going to get destroyed as new units are now making their way over. Sage now with about a 25 supply advantage, looking to finish off some of these spine crawlers. And if they can finish off the spine crawlers, the zealots will actually be able to do something, especially now that there are no more Broodlords on the field. Another unit does get taken down, but the Corruptors are now on the move. Zealots now making their way in. There are 3 Broodlords on the field still. Fungal growth, carriers now getting destroyed, as the mass Corruptors now need to be able to transform into Broodlords if they really want to do anything. Carriers trying to run away, infested Terrans doing a great job, and now Sage is on the run. Sage running, will he be able to run back home? Void Rays now coming back over to counter, and the Void Rays should be able to just finish off all of these units here as a carrier. Oh, they have a move, and they had shift clicked it, so it looks like the Corruptors, who's actually going to win out here? Psystorm now comes in under Lowely as the Corruptors are forced to actually stutter step away, and the Void Rays getting in a lot of damage, coming out ahead, going after the Broodlords, and Sage now comes back. Army compositions, oh my gosh, who's going to come out ahead? Dark Templars or Archons now could be warping in. Mothership now going to be re-engaging. No more resources really for anyone. Harvester count 37 probes. Where are those probes? I don't even see them anywhere. All over here, and they're not really doing much of anything. Dark Templars, Void Rays coming off over here. Are we going to see an engagement? That is the question. I mean, you may need to start seeing that walk of shame. These probes need to be transferred. No gas either. That is a problem. All he can do is warp in zealots at this point, as the probes are now making their way off over here. All right, a new nexus will be established. It looks like Lowely does have a slight bank advantage. We'll be able to train up a lot more Zerglings at the spine crawlers. That mobile stationary defense, so effective. All right, probes now making their way up over here. Gonna start trying to mine. Not quite sure why we don't see any mining action here. That is actually a very fast trip in terms of mining. You can see still mining going on in the center. And at this point, whoever loses the game is just going to be absolutely tired. Spine crawlers have now repositioned themselves in a very defensive posture. Meanwhile, the Corruptors and the Queens and the Infestors and Broodlords all working together very well. That walk of shame, yes, finally probes being transferred off here, as we need to see some assimilators be established. Warp Prism now looking to perhaps do some dropping, but there's nothing really to drop out of anywhere. And now we also see creep tumors making their way in over here. The center rocks have not been destroyed, surprisingly, as now both sides are trying to regroup with a much stronger presence. All right, what will be happening next? Probe still wandering around. Dark Templar could perhaps try to go after some more key buildings. Perhaps the infestation pit. Do we have a hive? Yes, we do have a hive. It has once again been reestablished, as we now see infested Terrans coming in. This could be bad. Lowly now with a much stronger army, and I believe Sage will be having to give the GG here in just a moment. Void Rays are in position. High Templars need to Psystorm, and do they Psystorm in time? Yes, they do Psystorm a lot, and now there's the Vortex. The Queen's now pushing in. The Queen's quickly now jumping inside. What's going to be happening here as the Archons are now trying to merge? Dark Templars coming in over here. Void Rays. Is this one Archon going to be able to do much of anything as it's going to try to engage? Here we go. Archon now trying to engage. Mothership Core gets taken down, and Sage has to give the GG. The production units, the Queens, the key difference in this battle. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2 in this series.